What's up guys, it's Josh. I'm back again this week finally with a video, and the reason for a little bit of my absence was just the fact that I need to plan out my videos a little bit. I made a few videos in the meantime that I just didn't like as much because it just felt rushed, it felt like there was no planning into it, and that I wasn't communicating these stories well enough and effectively enough. So, this video is about how to deal with not being the best in whatever you are involved in, whether it's school, whether it's college, whether it's another activity. I'll be mainly using the metaphor of school because clearly that's just something that I've lived with a lot and I have more experience in. I went to a school that was generally high achieving, so we had a very small class of very smart students and people who were all just so hardworking, so inspired, so it was very easy to lose your sense of yourself and lose your sense of achievement, and that was something I had to face very early on. So who is this video for? This video is for like my classmates that are going to be going into Ivy League schools, top schools this fall, and people who go to just generally high achieving areas. Okay, basically anyone who is good at what they're doing on a personal level, but are going to be surrounded by other people that are also good at what they do. It's gotten to the point in the American education system where people are cheating just to get ahead, or just to raise their class rank, or just to have a higher GPA, just so they can be valedictorian or something like that. That's when you know this is a problem that needs to be addressed, and it's also harming a lot of people who are not at the very top echelons of whatever they're doing. I understand that a lot of systems will pit us against each other, whether it's the class rank system or GPAs or really just the college admissions process. And the way that you can get around this and the way that you can just deal with this a lot more is to stop viewing everything as a competition. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is you need to remember what's the point of school. The point of school is basically to get an education so you're personally very prepared for the future, for work life, for anything that you take on. High school is not just an audition for college. It's a stepping stone in your education. This is where you're learning all the basic stuff that you need for like college math. In high school, you're learning pre-calculus and like algebra 2 and stuff like that. College writing and also just legal writing in occupations like that, they are introduced through like the 5-paragraph essay in high school. So everyone who knows me knew that in middle school I was very competitive. I was always about trying to be the best, asking people what their test scores were, and like basically going for the awards in all these classes. And that was a very unhealthy mindset because once I hit freshman year and I started to struggle a little bit more and I started not being the best in everything, it really took a toll on my mental health. So the way that I've gotten around this kind of issue is by framing my education in a little bit of a different way. It's all about learning for me, and the fact is, if I have a teacher that's not that great and I'm not learning that much, I'm not satisfied with getting an A in that class. It's about basically understanding the concepts that you wanted to take the class for initially. I've had bad teachers in the past, so the way that I viewed those classes was to do something like rather than focusing on how bad the teacher was or how much I wasn't learning, I was trying to grasp at any little opportunity to learn something from that class and to develop myself and develop my education. And that's a lot more healthy of an experience because you're not really in it for the grade anymore. The grades come later. The grades are supposed to be an indicator of how well you're doing in this class. How much are you learning, actually? You have to just make learning active, make the grind active, make it about bettering yourself and trying to learn as much as you can and trying to just achieve as much as you can on a personal level. So in psychology, there's this concept of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is a kind of motivation that you just naturally have as a person. Like, you want to do this because you want to do it. You can't really explain it. You don't need a reward to do it. You just do it because you want to. Things like practicing music, for example, or learning a new instrument, or just singing sometimes. That's something that a lot of people do, not because they want to do it for awards or for recognition or anything like that. It's because they love doing it. And that's something that could be applied more to the education system, because as of now, education runs on the system of extrinsic motivation. And although this is more common in institutions that run on systems because it's just easier to control, it becomes an unhealthy mindset sometimes. Because extrinsic motivation is the concept of motivation because of a reward, or because you want to achieve a specific thing, or you want to be recognized, or something like that. These rewards include getting good grades, having leadership positions, getting into an Ivy League college. These are not like very healthy motivations, because what if they fall through? What if you work so hard to get an A on this test and you get a B? Then it just kills your motivation. And how do you rebound from that? The way that you can solve this, just in general, is by trying to reframe education with more of a mindset of intrinsic motivation. So for a lot of people, when it comes to education, when it comes to learning, they don't have intrinsic motivation anymore. They haven't been able to develop that love of learning. So the way to get around that, by blending the intrinsic and extrinsic motivational mindsets, is by basically setting personal goals within your education and make them very personal. One way to do this is, for example, if you're in a class and you're learning a new concept. Let's say you're learning balancing chemical equations in chemistry class. Sure, you can get an A on the test by totally disregarding part of the lesson and just doing whatever the teacher wants you to do. But the way that you can make this more of a healthier mindset is to frame it in a way by saying, like, rather than trying for an A on this test, I should be trying to understand this concept. And it also fuels the way that you can study. Don't study until you understand. Don't study for the A. Study until you feel comfortable doing these problems or doing this concept. Another way to frame this is also by viewing education as a stepping stool into achieving what you want to do in life. For example, like in a computer science class, you're learning something in code. I don't know code, so I can't really make that metaphor properly, but rather than thinking, hey, I want to get through this chapter and get an A on this test, think about, what can I do with this information in the future? I want to learn this so I can design web pages properly or create buttons on the internet and things like that. Because then education doesn't become focused on the grade. You'll still get the grade if you understand things, because once you understand things, you can perform well on the test and the grade follows. But education becomes more of an active learning experience. Education should definitely be a lot more personal. If you view education this way, view it as how to understand things, how to prepare myself for the future, and how to achieve the things I want to do, then it becomes a lot less focus on competition, a lot less focus on who's the best in the class, and a lot more focused on you, and that's what it should be. So if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of competition in high schools and colleges, and do you have any worries for it? I'll see you in my next video. I love doing these psychology videos because I get to share a little bit more of what I'm interested in, and I'll be back more with college help videos in the future. So thanks for that, and I'll see you in my next video.